Hey guys, Cuchira here, and welcome to your CuchiChat. I always get picked on because I'm different. Well, I happen to be an expert in the subject and the leader of the club of freaks. So I've been called many a time. It's hard for us others out there. And I hope that this chat helps you not only embrace your superpower, because that uniqueness that makes you get picked on is exactly what also makes you powerful, but we'll talk about that later. But I also hope that this brings more awareness into the dynamics that are happening and how to use them to your advantage rather than your demise, because I will tell you that I have had many a sad sorrow night crying over being the other. And what I've learned is that time and time again, when I embrace my uniqueness, it gives me better understanding of who I am, what I have to offer, and empathy for others. Before I give an example, I would like to give you a little background, which is needed. This is my third time immigrating. I'm originally from Argentina. My first language is Spanish. When I moved to the United States, I remember that learning English was very difficult and challenging for me. I eventually learned in time, took a long time, and now I've immigrated to Portugal because of love, and I've been here for a while now, and one would expect, or so society tells me, that I should be fluent at this point, and I'm not. I'm still in the process of learning. I was very hard on myself at the beginning for not being able to learn it as quickly as I was expected. And I realized that that actually was working against me. And so I surrendered, I let it go, and I have accepted that I will learn it when I learn it. And in the meantime, I just stay actively involved and respectful and do my best. I'll add that immigrating is incredibly challenging. You don't just plop yourself into a new country and just start to learn the language, and that's that. You have to start creating a whole new social system, right? You've lost all your base relationships and you're starting literally from scratch. It's also culturally different, so adapting to that takes a while to understand. It can become overwhelming to be dropped into a world that is so foreign and so different that also takes time to feel comfortable in. There's a lot of dynamics that go into it, and it is emotionally exhausting. So I found myself in a place where I was completely overwhelmed. So I thought, okay, first, let me just take in where I am. And to be honest, that takes a lot of years to really start feeling that you're at home. And only then, I think, does your nervous system settle enough where you can really start learning this new language. At least for me, this has been my process. My Portuguese is pretty decent. I can understand a lot. So if I'm in a big group, and everyone's talking, it's a little bit more challenging because everyone's going really fast, but I pick up a good 80%. I'm really proud of myself for that. So speaking is definitely a lot more challenging, and that's kind of where I am right now, starting to figure out how to put together sentences that are not Tarzan-like. I'm doing okay, but it's still like I have to find the words. It takes a while for me to put it together. So yesterday I went to a dinner, and I was the only non-Portuguese speaking person there, and it was about 20 people in the group and their relatives of all ages. And people are really lovely with me, and although I can understand a lot of Portuguese, and sometimes they'll all speak in Portuguese, they'll recognize that I'm kind of there, and they'll be really welcoming and inviting and speak to me in English, which I think is so beautiful. I think it's always nice to invite the other in. I found myself talking to my friend, and we were going back and forth, and she was speaking English with me. The table on my right, which was a group of elderly Portuguese, start calling my name, and I'm like, "Is that my name?" So I like, "Oh, no, see." And they're like, "Why aren't you speaking in Portuguese?" And the tone was like, whoa. I was like, okay, I know this. I've been attacked like this many a time before for being the other, for being different, for being accused of something that they have no awareness of. They don't know my backstory. They don't know who I am. They knew nothing about me, nor did they ask. They just simply came at me with that force and judgment. And yes, in the moment, the first thing I wanted to do was cry. And my friend was so beautiful. She felt the energy and she kind of started to defend me. And then I quickly realized, like, no, wait, this is a power dynamic that's going on. And someone is seeing the weak link and trying to pounce on me. And so I kind of rolled my shoulders back. I got into my big girl pants and I was like, oh, podemos falar português. That softened some of them up, but not the main one, because you know there's always a main bully. There's always the main bully. But as we kept talking and they started to learn more about me, which I think was the initial intention of reaching out to me, which could have been done in a more kind and empathetic way, right? You could have said, hey, we would love to know who you are. You know, why are you speaking English? Where are you from? So there was a curiosity there from the beginning, but the judgment overpowered the curiosity, or even the fear of the different overpowered the curiosity. Eventually, after talking, I got a couple of them on my side, and they started, softening up the others. And the main bully felt defeated, and so he kind of backed down and quieted. And I could have showed up to that moment really differently, with fear, with hesitation, with anger. But instead, I welcomed them in, even though they didn't necessarily welcome me in. And with a little back and forth, they realized, like, hey, she's just a human being like us. And that made me not so different. And that allowed them to accept me a little bit more. Now, is that fair? No. But is life fair? No. And that took me actually a really long time to come to terms with. I would say that was probably 80% of the battle, understanding that life is not fair, that if you are different, you will more likely than not be the one that's attacked. And they always say, be the bigger person. And everything in me does not want to be the bigger person, but I have fought the fight and it has not helped me. And so I decided to come into the world of kindness and to give love where there is hate. And I've seen that creates way more of a shift. So I choose love. Another powerful thing that I've come to understand that really helps me navigate these situations is that judgment, that lack of awareness, that lack of empathy, that anger, sometimes even in rage at the different, it's not mine. Those aren't my issues. I've worked really hard to work on my issues and myself, because we all have them. And to stoop down to that level, to take on that energy, would be really dismissing all the work that I've done. And so I think having the awareness that this is from the other person, this is their struggle, this is their battle, this is what they're going through inside themselves, being reflected at me. And so I don't want to feed their monster. Simple as that. And in fact, I'm going to feed them nutrition. I'm going to give them love. I'm going to give them the love that they need so that they don't pounce on the other. And even though it sucks to always have to be picked out of the crowd to defend myself or to be the better woman, I have to say that this friction has really made me better. It's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about being resilient, standing up for myself, being assertive when I need to be. Also, seeing it from another point of view, seeing the pain and the lack of understanding or openness from the other party, and having empathy and understanding for that, and a place in my heart for that. It has taught me to be able to problem solve like I did last night. Like I said, I could have gone many different ways, but I chose to do the way that I have found actually makes the most difference and is the most positive. And it's built a lot of confidence in me. I know that I can protect myself when I need to. I know how to show up in a room full of people that have their eyes on me ready to kill and maybe turn that room around and open some eyes and some hearts. And I think that is a superpower. And as long as we're talking about superpower, let's talk about the fact that your uniqueness is your superpower. And this is what I've learned. What makes you different will at first be what makes you the one you get picked on, but later it will be your superpower, because it will be what people come to you for to learn. It will be what attracts them to you because it's different, because you have something that they don't. And that is extremely valuable when you know how to put it to good use. So if you're the one getting picked on, mark my words. Once you learn how to embrace it and work with it, your superpower will become your most valuable tool. There's many times where I thought, if I just shut my mouth and I just do as everybody says and I blend in and I'm not noticed, then life will be a lot easier for me. I won't have to fight my way through it. But number one, I couldn't do it because I tried. It's impossible. You are who you are. But when I started embracing my authentic self, I really started loving myself, and that attracted others like me. Whereas if I would have blended, I would have been the imposter in my own life, and everything would have been a fraud. All my relationships would have been built on something false, and that would have taken its toll, because then you're always having to put up an act. And so I think in the end, it's really about learning how to work with what you got, embracing it, loving it, and that will attract people that love you for you, and your world will be much richer for it. You're still going to have to fight, but the truth is, who isn't? Life is about the friction. This is how we learn about ourselves, and this is how we grow. So anytime that you have an opportunity to step into the friction, it's another opportunity to learn and to hopefully allow someone else to learn with you. So if you found this chat helpful and you know another that might need this little CuchiChat, please share it. Please spread it around, spread the love. If you come into someone that is a little different than you, be curious about it. Go up to them, invite them into your world, and I'm sure that you will learn from each other and something beautiful will grow in you. And finally, if you got something from this, you want to start a little conversation in the comments, or maybe give me an idea of what you want to Coochie chat about next, because I'll be posting a lot more of these, so you should definitely subscribe to this channel. Leave it in the comments. I'm eager to hear from you. I'll see you guys around for the next round. Have a beautiful day, and just, spread love.